Okay, so today we're going to talk about functional groups. Like, what is functional groups, right? Now, what is functional group? Actually, if we talk about, when we talk about functional groups, right, we are mostly, wait, I'm going to just take a marker for explaining. Okay, so it's just, right. What is functional groups? Functional groups are the heteroatom which actually replace hydrogen atom in a carbon chain and attach itself and responsible for the chemical property. However, the definition seems complex. No? Yes, the definition seems complex to us. Let's just make it a pretty obvious. I'm gonna write it here. Like what is I'm gonna change the color. Okay. What is functional group? What is functional group, right? So a functional group is basically a atom or a group of heteroatoms. Functional group is a atom or group of a heteroatom that replaces hydrogen from parent chain from parent chain and attach itself, right? And attach itself, right? What does it really mean? For instance, let me just show you what does exactly mean. Let's just take this color. We know that this is carbon, and yet again one more carbon. For example, this is butane, right? So what's gonna happen? We know that here we have three hydrogens, right? One hydrogen here. Then we have other hydrogen here. Then we have other hydrogen here. And yet again the same process repeats. Right? I'm not gonna write it here, but I'm gonna write this like CH2. Here we have CH2. But here, what actually problems arise? Here we have hydrogen, right? Here we have hydrogen. But what exactly happens that here we also have hydrogen. Let's just make a plotted dot so that it shows that now this does not no more be a part of carbon parent chain. What exactly happened? Chlorine atom. So we know that it is a metal, no metal, right? Chlorine is a non metal. When it comes, it actually carbon breaks its bonds with the hydrogen and attach chlorine with itself, right? The chlorine attached with hydrogen atom. Now you can see that this entirely different structure we can see here, and here this chlorine act as a heteroatom or a functional group. Here the chlorine act as a functional group. Here chlorine act as a functional group. So basically, this is something about functional group. So functional group is an atom or a group of a heteroatom which replaces hydrogen from the carbon chain and attach itself and is responsible for chemical properties, right? So chemical properties, what in sense? Like chemical properties, like styrene, boiling point, melting point, densities, and everything, right? So this is an example of functional group. Now we're going to talk about the next thing. What exactly the name of this like compound that we have just drawn here for example. तो इसका we have actually हमारे पास दो ऑप्शन होते हैं एक होता है IUPAC and the other one is normal naming. We're going to talk about both, right? First of all, when we talk about normal name, we will be discussing about what exactly means. But normal name के अंदर it is known as we have alkyl halides, right? So alkyl halides में it is known as methyl. This is wait, this is propyl chloride, right? This is propyl chloride. And if we talk about IUPAC, this is haloalkane. So haloalkane, this is chloropropane, right? So this is something which is confusing, and I know you won't be getting it in a once. So let's just erase it and let's just move to the functional group. Wait, before moving to functional group, always remember that at least 3 carbons is responsible for forming the chain of carbon. What does exactly mean? Let's just leave it and we just proceed further so that I can explain you about what exactly it is, right? So I'm gonna read it. Okay, it's read. Now talking about the first functional group, that is halide, right? Alkyl halides. When we talk about halide, we mostly represent like this, right? So this is R and this is X. Here R represents any hydrogen or carbon atom attached with this halide. This halide. Now what is halide? Halides are the element that belongs to 7 group, right? Let's say fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine. We don't talk about acetylene, but we talk about fluorine, chlorine, bromine, and iodine. That comes to 7 group, right? So this is halide lines. Halide, what is halide and what exactly happens? Let's just draw a compound here. For example, I'm drawing propane, right? Oh, I'm sorry, I might have mistaken the last example. That was butane, not propane. So you just place the name by butane, right? Butane. Okay, this is butane, right? Yeah, I told you that here we have 3 hydrogen, HCC. Then we have one more hydrogen, that is CH2. Then we have one more hydrogen, that is CH2. But here the problem actually arises. Here we have hydrogen. Here we have hydrogen, and then chlorine atom. This chlorine atom is basically a non-metal, and when it gets attached with this chain of carbon atom, which is the parent chain, it changes its chemical property. This is basically a functional group. So what is the name of this compound? If we talk about normal naming, so it is known as, we talk about alkyl halides. What is alkyl? Alkyl means propyl chloride. So this is a name in normal naming. When you talk about in the IUPAC namer, it is known as haloalkanes. Halo means chloro, propane, butane, right? This is a name in the IUPAC nomenclature. IUPAC nomenclature means IUPAC naming system, right? So this is all about halide, right? Combination of a hydrogen atom with halides, which is chloride, bromide, iodide, fluoride. We can take a lot of examples according to it. For instance, let's just draw a starting 5 compounds of like methane, propane, butane, um, heptane, and hexane. Let's just draw it. So I'm going to draw the first one, which is methane. Now, what is the formula here for methane is, I'm going to draw here methane. This is CH3Cl, right? CH3Cl. Here the formula is pretty simple, that CN H2N plus 1, CN H2N plus 1. I'm talking about the first one, right? So this is, what is it? It is basically methane, right? Methyl. I'm going to talk about, firstly we are talking about the first one. This is not exactly methane. This has a name in IUPAC normal naming, but let's just consider it for a while, right? So first of all, I'm going to draw the structure. So this is something like this. One carbon atom. This is yeah, I'm gonna draw the structure. This in IUPAC naming is known as, if you talk about the normal system, which is alkyl halide. So in alkyl halide, it is known as methyl chloride, right? This is known as methyl chloride. Methyl chloride, right? This is known as methyl chloride. But if we talk about the other system, which is IUPAC nomenclature, International Union of Pure Applied Chemistry, like yeah. So if we talk about in the IUPAC, it is known as haloalkanes, which means chloromethane. Chloromethane. So this is basically one of the example of halide alkynes, right? Or halide combined with carbonide. Or with here the halides act as a functional group responsible for deciding the chemical properties of an atom linked in an element and combined with a carbon chain, right?